But we'll just get started anyways. So a couple of quick announcements. We are doing another round of Fitme Community Leader in January. I've been talking about it on the podcast, but if that is something that you're thinking about doing, then reach out because we'll have another group that starts at the end of January. We're also going to be doing free activities in the Facebook group every single month. And so you guys will start to see those. They're available and open to everybody. So in January, we're going to be doing a reset. And so Sarah, I can't mute you because I didn't sign in as host. So you might have to mute yourself. She's chasing kids. But we're doing a reset in January. And so if you know anybody who will benefit from participating in the like Fitme style of reset, it's going to be very much like a nod to our old version where it's like pick, from here. Do you want to do environment clean out? Do you want to do sweat? Do you want to do a break from sugar, break from alcohol, all those good things? There's going to be a bunch of helpful things. So just be on the lookout for both of those things, both the Fitme Community Leader sign up for January and the upcoming reset, which is available for everybody that you can share. So I was thinking about what the topic should be for tonight, because the last 3 weeks we talked about holidays. I mean, we talked about how to plan for the holidays, how to pick which days are important to you and really enjoy them. We talked about what to do on those days. And so how do you really take care of yourself so you can feel your best and like how to get back to it the next day. And some of the Fitme coaches have actually been doing videos on this stuff. And it's really helpful. And then last week, I kind of talked to you about some of the benefits of having extra food and having this be a season of maintenance. Like, what are those things that we can just embrace as a part of the holiday season, whether that's lifting more weights or just giving your body a break from a weight loss focus, or really enjoying being with family and celebrating with those foods and just kind of knowing that that's a season for this. So all of those things we've talked about over the past few weeks. But what I wanted to bring up today, good job, Georgia. Georgia went potty. I can't wipe your butt, but brother can wipe your butt. Did you poop in the potty? Okay, 1 minute, everyone. I'll be right back.
Yay, Georgia.
Open it.
If I would have said brother will wipe your butt when my daughter was young, they would have been like, hell to the no, brother will wipe your butt.
Yeah. So he is asleep on the couch. So he's supposed to be watching his little sister in there, and he kind of is, but I mean, obviously I can see her, so it's not too far away for him to be asleep, but I don't think he would wipe her butt. And so right now, since he's passed out. So back to what we were talking about. Thank you for understanding. I guess one of our values is realness. And if I have to wipe my daughter's butt on our Sunday coaching call, then sometimes we have to do that. So what I was going to talk about is, since we've talked about the holidays for the past 3 weeks, what's going to happen is we're going to real quick be in the new year. That's what's going to happen. Just a moment away, it's going to be January. And January usually involves goal setting. It is like a look forward. It's, what do we want to do this year? What's our big goal? What do we want to accomplish? What do we want to change? How do we want to get there? All of that good stuff. And I think as we're getting close to January, we should take some time intentionally to reflect, to look back. In a holiday season can be a nice time to like celebrate with families and to be present. But I also think we deserve to be present with ourselves. And you're going to be present with food, like we talked about, present with your people, all those things. But like, I want the target for this week for you to take some time to be present with yourself and reflect on this past year and look at it and say, where did you work hard? Where did you find success? Where can you celebrate? And it doesn't just have to be around the scale. It can be, if you had a meaningful weight loss milestone, consider that. But what I really want you to consider is the process, right? We've talked about the difference between a process-oriented goal and then having an outcome oriented goal. So say, for example, like an outcome goal is like, I want to lose 15 pounds, but a process oriented goal would be like, I want to walk 5 days a week. That's a process goal that leads to the outcome potentially, but you're focused on the process. And so what I want you to do in your reflection isn't just think about the big wins. What I want you to think about is, where did you succeed in the process? Where did you show? And it might even be helpful. There's 2 ways that I think you can do this that work really well, or at least they do for me. One is to look at your actual calendar. So go back through your calendar, or your notes in your Fitme app or whatever. Go back through and look and see all of the things that you've done. Another thing you can do is go through your phone pictures. Go back to the beginning of the year and just do like a quick scroll of your phone pictures, because it's going to jog memories. And again, what I want you to think about is, yes, like celebrate those milestones. So if you had big milestones this year, maybe you completed a run for the first time, maybe you hit a new size that you haven't been in for a long time, maybe you did a hike with your kids you've never done before. You have those meaningful milestones. So first start by thinking about what those are, but then I want you to work in reverse from those milestones to think back and say, like, what were the process things that you can celebrate from yourself that led to those outcomes? Hold on 1 second, guys. 1 more second. Fixing the pants. Here, quick. You're fine. In a minute. We're having all the pants problems. So what I want you to think about is, again, like, where can you celebrate consistency? Where can you celebrate how many times you showed up and did something? Like, for example, this Sunday call right now, some of you are very, very consistent at showing up for the Sunday call or listening to the Sunday call. And both I'm cool with. If you can be here in person, great. But if you listen to it every single Monday, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. So that is an example of showing up for yourself, and to reflect on this past year and think, like, how many Sunday calls did I show up to? A lot. Or how many did I listen to and actually try to incorporate? A lot. How many times did I check in with my coach and set a thing and try to actually do it? Go back through your mind and think about that. How many times did you go out for walks? How many times did you order groceries when you didn't feel like it? And start to celebrate those small moments. We talk about little wins on like a weekly basis, but I want you to think about this on a cumulative basis. It's not often that we have the opportunity to look in reverse and say, where are my little wins that added up to the big wins of the year? We talk about it in the forward sense, like, let's think about next year and our goals. Okay, cool. Those are your big goals. Like, let's set some little wins as targets along the way. But we're going to do this in reverse, because now is the time for reflection. Now's the time that we can look back and say, that you did a lot of great stuff for yourself this year. And if you didn't feel like you had as many wins as you had hoped, then give yourself a fair assessment of that. And again, a fair look back takes into context your life. So if you just genuinely didn't show up for yourself and you're like, I'm not happy with how I didn't show up for myself in that season, well, then just make a note of it. I didn't show up for myself, and that's going to be different this year. But if you're like, man, this entire chunk of time, I didn't see progress, what was going on then? I want you to think about it and say, you know what, but I did do these things even though work was crazy, or I did do these things even though my kids were sick every week. Like, put context on those times that you're like, I didn't see as much progress as I wanted. And I know a handful of you actually have been super patient this year with either doing a reverse diet, so eating more food, or building up slowly with exercises to wait for the thing that you're most excited about doing. And those things can feel either boring or like they are going to take forever and ever. But looking back at this past year, acknowledge how significant those are, because most people aren't willing to do the quote boring work. They just want to skip it. They just want those big wins. And a lot of people, and Paige just got on here, so she's kind of a perfect example of someone who had to spend a significant amount of time focusing on the small wins before she saw the visible ones that everybody gets all excited about, like the scale going down and measurements changing. She had an entire year of focusing on eating more food and on taking care of her body and feeling differently. And that's what I want you to think about, is if you did the work this year and you didn't get to celebrate the big wins yet, then celebrate doing the work and celebrate what that did for your body. And so your target again for this week is a reflection target, because in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about goal setting. We are going to forward look into next year, set goals for ourselves, think about the little milestones along the way. But before we do that, we can't abandon this year. We need to look back and say, what were the wins of this year? What were the things that we can celebrate that are process oriented? How many times did you show up for yourself in different categories? How many CrossFit workouts did you do? How many walks did you take? How many times, again, how many times did you go to the grocery store? How many times you come to these Sunday calls? How many times you check in with your coach? Those little things that are process oriented, I want you to reflect on that and go through your calendar and really think about it. And remember that the process oriented things are the ones that deserve our focus. They are the ones that we need to apply our attention to, because that's what actually propels the big wins. So if we take this time to look backwards and say, and reflect, not look backwards, but reflect on last year and say, here's where I was successful in these process-oriented goals, that's going to empower your goal making for the future. And your goal making for next year can be much more informed because you have in mind what it is that you did this past year, not just the wins, but the process things. So I want to open this up. Sorry, my kids are like fighting in the background. I want to open this up for some conversation. And if you guys have thoughts or questions around this, let me know your thoughts. This is kind of a weird one, I know. One of the things that I used to do in CrossFit that I really enjoyed, and I think can be maybe helpful going into next year for all of us, is if it's difficult to reflect. Hang on just one second. Sorry for the chaos. Georgia is now free. One of the things that I love that I did in CrossFit in my first 2 years was I wrote down every single workout that I did. I put it in a journal and I would look back and I would see those old weights that I used to do when my very first year. And I would see the workouts that I did and I would put little notes in there about it. And that was really, really helpful for me in the reflection. And so if you are having difficulty reflecting on this past year, let that be one of the things that you do going into next year, is do a little bit more journaling, do a little bit more note taking on the things that you're doing. Get a Fitme journal and start writing down every walk that you take, every Sunday call you attend, the things that you take away. If you write down all of those things, then Georgia is just going to own this call tonight, guys. So thank you for understanding. Georgia, stop. Mama's talking. Yeah, you're talking. If you haven't done that in the past, maybe this year's the year that you start to journal.
Christy.
Yeah.
And Georgia, hello. I like that you brought that up. I'm a data person and, I love that you brought up like how many Sunday calls did you attend or how often did you check in with your coach? I just, like even for me personally, it's like, oh gosh, yeah, I've missed Sunday calls that I didn't want to miss, or, I might not have been as consistent about checking in with my coach, even on a regular basis. And those can help to create some really good goals and habits going forward when you start to reflect back on those things. So that was just a nice call out, even for me to think about.
Yeah, we really can't change what we don't track. And some of these things we sort of just take for granted, like, oh, that we're doing them as a part of being in Fitme. But if we start to track them and again, just make little notes, it can be something that helps us build consistency and remember when we're struggling. Oh, look at when I was feeling differently.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, Georgia.
She's full send because we went to that party that I was telling you guys about, and I just let her eat 1,000 cookies. So
It's got a little bit of a sugar high.
Yeah, we're full send.
Oh, look at our friend.
Yeah, there's a friend.
Let her come over.
Nope, she can't come over. Does anybody else have any other thoughts on this? Your target for the week is what I want you to do is let your coach know some of the process oriented wins you had this year. And again, like think process oriented is like consistency. Where were you consistent in showing up for yourself? Was it in meal prep? Was it in your walking? Was it in your workouts? Was it in your checking in with your coach even when things weren't going well? Was it in your
Christy.
eating more food? Yes.
Does mindset stuff count? Is
Oh.
that not process oriented?
It is process, definitely, especially if you went through the new mindset program. Like all of those things that you did around that are super process oriented.
Okay.
So if you had wins related to mindset, especially if you had a big mindset epiphany, then again, it's sort of the same thing, like think in reverse. How did you get to that epiphany? What are the things that you did that led you there? Because there was usually a couple of either conversations or something that you did or a book that you read. Because you did work to get to that epiphany. Maybe you just gave yourself space and time, but something got you there. And so that's kind of what I want you to think of is even if it is a mindset thing, peel back that layer one more time and think about what you did to get there.
Yeah, put this on you. Let me put this on you.
Anything else, guys?
Oh, that did work.
Well, you guys have your target for the week. I know a lot of people are at holiday parties tonight, and so they're going to be catching the replay of this. But you have your target. And again, if you are at a complete loss for your process-oriented wins, then you have already clarity on what needs to be different next year, which is making notes of them. Or tracking them or using your app more or making journal notes or something.
So I wanted to add something real quick.
Sure.
So Natika and I and a couple other girls, we were at our CrossFit Christmas party last night. Natika looked so amazing. I don't think she had were you wearing like tight jeans and a shirt or something, Natika?
You are a hot mess.
You looked so good. This little waist to this great hour shaped thigh feature, she just looked so good. And so I just had to say that should be one of her
Somebody
wins.
got a picture.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and
I'm
I would
pretty
like
sure
to
Erica
ditto
did,
that.
and I will post. I will post a picture of it in the Facebook
Ditto.
group because she
Sarah?
just looked so good.
Yes, I was telling her, this is Nicole. When she got out of the car, I was like, wow, what those squats been doing.
That's so awesome, you guys.
I love
Thank
it.
you, ladies.
I love that so much. It's like a perfect way to end this call too. It's just like with a amazing shout out. Georgia is something else today. So
So cute though.
it's a lot. We'll all remember this time.
The people on the replay, they
I
won't
know.
get the visual. They just hear poop talking and be butt wiping. That's going to be interesting.
Yes, if you're listening to the replay, Georgia is in my lap right now with the microphone like in her mouth because she took it from me. And so that is our cue to be done.
And I'm going to see a friend.
Yep, we're gonna see a friend.
Hey, Georgia. Hey, Brenda.
So, hi guys.
Bye. Bye,
you all-
Georgia.
You guys all have a phenomenal week. I will talk to y'all next week. Let me know if you guys come up with some of these good process oriented wins. Share them. This stumps some people. So as you find them, share them.
Here.
And I look forward to talking to y'all next week. Bye.
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 Bye,
Bye.
Georgia.
Bye.
Bye.